next up is our community moment. If you're new to Oasis, we do this every week. We have someone from our community come up and share something about themselves, a thought for the day, something they're passionate about, and it can vary. If you were here last week, it can range, and topics, so the stuff that you may never expect. But today's community moment speaker, I am so thrilled that I get to introduce him. Actually, I get to meet some pretty amazing people doing this role, and Alex is no exception at all. I was at one of the lunches and sat with his parents, and then got to hear his story, and I felt so incredibly inspired, and still to this day is one of the most inspirational stories that I've gotten heard as an individual. So a little bit about Alex. I'd like for you guys to get to know our community moment speakers. He is a junior at Norburn High School, which is 18 miles outside of Richmond, so they're about 50 miles from here in central Kansas City. He's a part of the band, academic team, Science Olympiad, and is a Missouri Scholars Academy alum. Plays 8 instruments. It's gonna make all of us feel like we just, failed our high school experience there. It gets better. 8 instruments, no surprise. Is a member of Center Stage Players Troupe and also loves to sing. I asked for 3 words to describe him, and he said passionate, outspoken, and fearless. I can second that. If he had a warning label, he said it would be, don't judge a book by its cover. Let's give a great warm welcome to Alex Autry.
Alright, thank you, Helen. I'm very, very excited to be here. I'm fairly new to Oasis. I've only been here a few times, but I'm very excited. I love this community. It's awesome. She talked about some of the community and school activities that I'm in. I am the captain of the academic team. I'm the high school band drum major. I had Science Olympiad yesterday, where I won 3 awards, and I was the captain of my marathon team. So I'm very, very involved with my school. I also ran track last year, and I played basketball during my school career as well. And I apologize, my voice does not actually sound like this. My school had their district basketball tournament on Thursday. I was part of a very rowdy student pep group. I thought my voice would have feel by Sunday. I was wrong. Actually, I want to talk a little bit about my basketball experience. I played in junior high, and I was #1 bench warmer. Rarely played. But I got out there, and they gave me the ball one time. I was way out deep in the three-point line. I threw it up there, it drained in. The bench warmer made a basket. Now, those were my only 3 points in my entire career. But I got them in 1 shot. So, 100% average. And so, the bench warmer makes a 3-pointer. The crowd stands up and cheers. All the girls on my team stood up and cheered. And some of you just looked at me funny. The girls on my team, as I said, that was 4 years ago when I played junior high basketball, which is 3.5 years before I came out as transgender. So you're going to get the abridged version of my coming out story. I came out last March, actually as lesbian, because I felt like that would be easier to break the ice with my parents. A month and a half later, I realized that I couldn't continue with that. I had to tell them I was actually transgender and identified as a straight male. And so, a lot of stuff happened this summer, but I began my transition first by going to see a pediatric psychiatrist who referred me to a pediatric endocrinologist who said, you're the poster child for being transgender, what do you want? And so some trans people choose to go on hormone blockers, some choose to have hormone replacement therapy, some choose to have surgery, which I would like to point out, unless they tell you about it, it's none of your business. Which I just sort of throw that out there. It's never okay to ask somebody unless they say it's okay to ask them. And so I really, really wanted to be on testosterone. It was very important to me. I wanted to be more comfortable in my body. I wanted to be able to transition and pass in society as my gender, as male. But there was a problem with that. There's this thing called the DSM, which is the manual they use to diagnose mental health, mental illnesses and different things. And in 1952, they added homosexuality to that, and it was removed in 1973. That's great. We realize that that's not a mental illness, it's just who people are. The problem is that I'm still in there. To be able to get on testosterone, I had to receive a diagnosis of gender identity disorder with the symptoms gender dysphoria and opposite gender euphoria. Now, can somebody tell me why that makes sense? It doesn't. So for me to be able to be more comfortable in my body, I had to get a blood test. I had to get a blood test before they would put me on testosterone to see how much I already had in my body. When it came back, when the results came back, it didn't come back under blood test. It came back under psychiatric care, which I was not happy about. And so I'm really frustrated that I am labeled as having a mental illness. I don't see it as a mental illness because it's not. Just because something is less common doesn't mean it's wrong. We don't say people with red hair have a physical disability because we don't see it too much. No, we just call it what it is, it's red hair. I'm transgender, you don't see me as much, but I'm still here, and it doesn't mean anything is wrong with me. So this ties into our other speaker today, who's talking about mental illness, and I'm very excited for that. And so it's frustrating to me that we see things as wrong, or broken, or as sin, or a mistake, when really it's just people being happy as who they are. Perhaps I would have had more points if I played on the junior high boys basketball team instead of the junior high girls basketball team. Maybe I would have done better in practice. Maybe I would have been willing to get out there and get on the court. So for me, I just want to tell you that I'm happy. And I'm happier now than I've ever been. And it's important that we see people as who they are and not as something else. And that we realize that just because their happiness doesn't look like your happiness doesn't mean that it's not happiness. Thank you.